Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Citizen Sports Weekly. I'm Robert Harding.
And I am not Chris Sciria.
That's right.
I am Jonathan Monflotto, filling in again.
That's your official Citizen Sports Weekly name, not Chris
Not Chris Sciria? That's a good name to have.
Yeah. Of course, I did the video last week by myself. I don't think I posted that on the website, though. It is on YouTube for all you interested viewers out there. And so, Moneybags, as he's affectionately known around these parts, joins me for this week. So that's 2 weeks.
Filling in again.
Being
the Aaron Rodgers to the Brett Favre, perhaps. You know, the backup for 3 years.
That's a pretty good comparison. So let's get into it. Speaking of football, we were going to talk football. And speaking of quarterbacks, we're going to talk about a quarterback
who's going to sit out the first 4 games of the season.
Right.
Speaking of going on vacation.
Yeah.
Chris did.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so it's official. He's going to sit out 4 games. What do you think?
Yeah, it's for Bills fans, it's it's kind of a love-hate scenario. Like that Tom Brady, in all likelihood, pending, he's talking about possible court action or whatever legal action, but in all likelihood he'll be sitting out week 2 against the Bills, which certainly makes that game a little more favorable for Buffalo. But if you're the Bills, you want to beat the Patriots when they're at their best, and of course with Tom Brady, they're at their best. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing, I guess, is a way to put it.
On the other hand, is this really going to affect the Patriots' season, or do you think this is more of everyone else gets a 4-game head start? I mean, especially in that division where you have the Patriots and the Bills, Dolphins, and the Jets.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, looking at their schedule, it's somewhat of a tough draw. I think, aside from Buffalo, they do play Pittsburgh in the season opener. They have Dallas in week 4, so there's some tough teams in there. But if they go 500, they'll be fine. I mean, Brady comes back, has 12 games. They can certainly go on a roll, and not to mention that sometimes the Patriots will get off to a slow start, and then Brady will find his groove and they'll win 10-11 in a row.
Sure.
So
yeah.
So I don't think if you're a New England Patriots fan, I get that there's outrage about it, but I don't think you need to. You need to complain too much. The Patriots will still have 12 games with Brady, the last 12 games. Most of those are against division opponents. Most of them are against pretty good foes. So they'll have their opportunities. I mean, this 4-game setback, if you will, won't hurt them too much.
And speaking of football again, there was an interesting Harvard study of all things done that says. Was it the Seahawks and the Dolphins going to the Super Bowl? And I really want to ask you that because I know that you and Chris have done the predictions in the last 2 years at least.
Yeah.
You have correctly predicted the Super Bowl players.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, look, I'll give Chris this, and Chris isn't here, so he might not believe this, that he's seen this on the video. But the Dolphins are a better team this year. Dolphins could be a playoff team this year. They've got much better defense. They have a decent quarterback. You have to give Ryan Tannehill credit. He's certainly the second best quarterback in the AFC East. And, they have some weapons there that they can use. So, there's been a lot of focus on the Bills, with Rex Ryan and all the pieces they added. But, I certainly wouldn't sleep on the Dolphins. That said, I don't think they're a Super Bowl team yet. I think you look around the AFC, you've got teams like New England. You've got Denver, of course, with Peyton Manning still. Sure. You have the Steelers, you have the Ravens, teams like that, and of course the Colts too. So you have a lot of teams there that are capable of coming out of the AFC and going to the Super Bowl, and I just don't see Miami at that level yet. They're getting there. They're certainly improving, but I don't see them at the top tier level going to the Super Bowl in 2015-16.
Did you have a prediction yet? I mean, are you going to make it 3 in a row with being correct, or is it too early to?
It's a little early. I've been thinking about it. Chris and I do this. We tend to do it right before the season starts. So I've got a few weeks to go, but definitely have a few teams in mind. I can't rule out Seattle, of course.
Oh, absolutely not. With a Bills fan complimenting the Dolphins, I'll be a Packers fan complimenting the Seahawks. They're definitely a formidable opponent.
Yeah, and I think the Packers can certainly be right there too in that discussion. So they did make the NFC title game last year. it's gonna be interesting come prediction time. I don't know which way I'm gonna go, but it's tough to pick against Seattle. That said, you've got a team like Green Bay there, Dallas, of course. In the AFC, there's a bunch of teams you could go with, so it's kind of wide open right now. Not sure where I'm going to go.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a bold prediction. We're going to switch gears to NASCAR. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Kyle Busch will make the Final Four at Homestead, the championship round, they call it.
Interesting.
A little harder to tell who's going to win the championship since it is really based on that one race, but 3 wins in a row, 4 out of the last 5. He's still like 23 points outside of the top 30 where he needs to get into the chase officially. He'll have no problem doing that, and he makes the Final Four.
Oh, that's a big bet. He's certainly on a roll. He's won, 3 straight?
Yeah,
now?
3 straight. And the thing, too, is he's done it all on 4 different tracks. I mean, he had Sonoma, the road course, Kentucky, the intermediate track, went to New Hampshire, which is a mile-long flat track, and then, of course, Indianapolis, the 2.5-mile super speedway. So, yeah, on a roll, for sure. I mean, especially missing the first third of the season. If he does make the chase, at this point, he would, based on the seedings, be the points leader with Jimmy Johnson. They each have 4 wins. So.
Yeah, I've never been a big Kyle Busch fan, just because of kind of the off-the-track stuff and just, kind of his overall approach. But, this is a great story this year. He broke his leg in the first or second race?
Not even the first Sprint Cup race. It was the Xfinity race at Daytona. So it wasn't even,
So, and then he, obviously out of a significant amount of time, and then comes back, and he's just been on a roll much since he got back.
It's been amazing. Like you said, I haven't really ever been a big Kyle Busch fan. I'm kind of cheering him on this year. He's like that guy you're like, you want him to see him do well. And but yeah, he came back in 12th race of the season. He's run less than half of the races that everybody else has, and he's out there beating them every week. And I think he'll continue.
Yeah, it's a great story, and it takes me into something I wanted to ask you about, because you probably won't be on the show again before we have the Watkins Glen race.
Oh, that's true.
So, who should we watch?
It's kind of interesting because there's 6 races left until the chase starts. 11 different winners, which leaves, of course, 5 spots open for right now for points, or maybe 5 more different winners. And I think Watkins Glen is really the only true race that could have a surprise winner. I mean, of course, any track is capable of that, through a fuel mileage race or just someone having a good day and some luck. But Watkins Glen, I think, hey, maybe A.J. Allmendinger will do it again. I mean, he looked strong at Sonoma till he broke. Maybe Tony Stewart will pull out one. Yeah. You never know. Or Jeff Gordon's still winless. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be a surprise, but it would lock him in. So that's going to be the last true wild card, so to speak. And of course, Watkins Glen always puts on a great show. I mean, last year, Allmendinger and Marcus Ambrose beating on each other. It seems like the last 2 years has really come along as a really exciting track. And I mean, of course, no doubt, it's the number 1 track according to the USA Today, and I think that's why. It's just, the last few years has just really put on some great racing, some surprise winners, and so this should be a good one. A couple weeks away, and
it benefits from scheduling for sure because of its proximity to the chase for the Sprint Cup. So, it's going to be fun to watch, and of course, it's just about an hour, give or take, away from Auburn. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty nice for us to have that kind of right in our backyard. But yeah, before we wrap it up, you've got a big trip coming up.
I do,
and it's sports related.
It is sports related.
So we might as well talk about it.
My wife and I are going on our anniversary trip for our first anniversary, and without even me prompting her, she said, "Hey, let's go to Green Bay." And I, of course, wasn't going to argue with her. I'm a huge Packers fan, but I've never been to Lambeau Field. In fact, as you know, the only time I've seen the Packers play was at Buffalo last year. So I'm looking forward
to it.
Glad
to be part of that.
Training camp starts tomorrow, I believe, and we'll be there on Friday. And cool. With the training camp, they have a special tour that's only offered during training camp. So
nice.
I'm not sure what to expect, but I'll have my cheese head and hopefully get to see some cool stuff and, probably live tweet it because that's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the great venues in sports. I mean, when you think about baseball, you think of Yankee Stadium, Fenway Park, Wrigley Field. when you think about hockey, you think of a place like Montreal or even Detroit. You think about football, and Lambeau Field is the first one that really comes to mind. I think just how they have kept that facility. It's obviously older, but they've renovated it to add some modern amenities to it while keeping the history there. Certainly a place that I think a lot of football fans would say objectively that if you want to see a pro football game, you want to go to Lambeau. So it's cool that you're going to get to see it in a warmer time of year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will be unique, but hey, nothing wrong with that. At least you get to see it. So we'll wrap it up there. Anything else you want to add before you depart?
I don't think so. Just looking forward to my trip, and like I said, Watkins Glen in a couple of weeks. That should be a great race, and cool. We'll see about those Dolphins.
Yeah, we'll see. So it'll be, we'll be talking a lot of football during the month of August when Chris comes back. Certainly, Bill's training camp is coming up. I plan to hit that up a couple times at least. So I'm sure a lot of football is in store for us as we head into August here, right before the 2015 season. So till next week, when Chris returns, thanks for watching, and take it easy.